breaking news. Donald Trump holding his ground in the latest Fox News poll. It is the first after the Fox News debate. Retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, and former HP CEO Carly Fiorina all seeing a bump after the debate, while Kentucky Senator Rand Paul and former Governor Jeb Bush and Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker all taking a hit. But with 15 months to go, who will we see here next August? Joining me now is former deputy assistant to George W. Bush and a Republican strategist, Brad Blakeman. We also have Joe Trippi, a Democratic strategist and a Fox News contributor. Brad, let me ask you first, because I think it's really funny if you dig down deeper into this poll, that Donald Trump was the least likable, they said, and he also did the worst in the debate, and he's the #1 candidate. How do all those things go together?
Well, I think 2015 is shaping up to be the year of the outsider. The question is, what will 2016 bring when the rubber meets the road? You have the primaries and you have the general election. So remember, in America, you have to be selected by the party before you're elected by the people. And Trump's welcome may be petering out, I think, as we move closer to the rubber hitting the road and actually getting the votes out.
Everybody said that again and again, that he's going to go down, and he keeps defying political gravity. Joe, let me ask you. So we see Ben Carson moving into second place here, and you know, sizably, significantly. Does he seem like somebody who can hang on to that, especially when he seems to be, he's sort of, I mean, he's not a career politician, so he shares that with Donald Trump, but he's quiet, he's thoughtful. Has the opposite style, it seems.
Well, I mean, Brad's completely right here about what's clearly going on is the rush to the outsiders. Trump, Ben Carson, absolutely. Carly Fiorina is another one that benefited. Again, you know, a CEO coming in from the outside. So I think Carson, it's hard to know which of them will have any staying power. But here's what I think is the dynamic that's going on. The people who love Donald Trump love him. And it's about 24, 25, could be 30% of the party right now. And the problem is those that don't, those numbers that you pointed to where people, you know, didn't think he did as well, et cetera, they're all splitting up across this huge field. And that's actually benefiting Trump right now, because if 4 points go to Carson, if 3 points add to Carly, if 2 go to somewhere else, all because the one guy they've decided they're not for is Trump. Trump sitting at 25-30, that's going to go places, particularly in these early states.
Okay, Brad, what's your response to that?
I think Joe's absolutely correct. You know, the, primaries and caucuses are not popularity contests. They're get out the vote events, and you need the infrastructure of a campaign in order to motivate people who like you to vote for you. And remember, a small portion of the Republicans who are registered come out to vote. So it makes it even that much harder to win, because you need
but
to have the apparatus.
But Donald Trump doesn't have the apparatus and the infrastructure and all that kind of stuff.
That's the key.
Okay.
That's the key.
So you don't think he can win the primaries?
Right? Well, not if he doesn't turn his momentum into ground troops, into campaign operatives. And unless that happens, I don't see how he can win, because he's non-traditional in a sense that he's gaining popularity, but you have to be traditional in getting elected.
Okay. So, Joe, let me ask you, let's turn to the Democratic side for a second before we go. The latest Fox News poll in the Democratic field had Hillary Clinton on top by 49%, Bernie Sanders in at 30%. Even though that's closer than a lot of people would think that it would be at this point, it still is better for her than a lot of the individual state polls, where in places like New Hampshire, we've seen Bernie Sanders ahead of Hillary Clinton. What do you make of that?
You know, actually, I think right now what all this says is it points to the weakness in the rest of the Democratic field. I mean, normally what would be happening is a Martin O'Malley would be getting 8 or 9, 10 points by now. Some of these other Democratic candidates would be doing that, like what's happening on the Republican side. Instead, all the anybody but Hillary, or she's not liberal enough, or any of that stuff is all coalescing around
just one person.
Guy. One guy, and that makes it seem closer than it really is. Mostly not about her weaknesses, although that she's created some problems for herself, no doubt about that, but more because the other candidates just aren't doing their fair share of the fight by, you know, gaining 8 points here or 10 points there, like Carly and Ben Carson and some of the other candidates are doing on the Republican side.
Gentlemen, thanks to both of you. Appreciate your time. Great to see you. Coming up.
Thanks.